you look across the world, say 4 months ago, there was no headroom in interest rates. So, you know, what I mean by this is our cash rate was 0.1%.
Hard to cut it from there, isn't it?
Can't cut from there.
No.
The US, similar. Some
yep.
places, negative. If I'm a government and I want to make, and I can't use fiscal policy anymore because, you know, I can't keep spending money because we've all got deficits as a result of the money we pumped into the economy during the COVID period, and we're going to not get elected. We won't get re-elected. My only means of stimulating this economy, if I need to stimulate it, is through interest rates. But I've got no headroom. My interest rates are so low, I can't do any more about it. So, reserve banks around the world get their heads together and they say, you know what? We've got an inflation period here. You know, we don't really think it's going to live for very long. We don't think it's going to go for more than 12 months, really. But why don't we buy some headroom now? Let's just start jamming interest rates up, get us from 0.1 to 2, because we think that there's more shit coming down the pipeline and that we're going to have a major problem in 18 months' time, and we will need to reduce interest rates to reignite the economy, in which case, to do that, we need to have, say, 2% rate so I can put my rates down, but I won't go down by 25, but I'll go down by 5 basis points or 10 basis points. What do you think about a conspiracy theory like that? I know it's a bit broad.
Yeah, no.
But it sort of explains how interest rates work, though.
It's sort of like reloading the cannon.
Yeah.
You know, you've shot all your shots when a year ago when
because
we had
of
rates
COVID.
Basically at zero. Yes, we had COVID, a 1 in a 100-year pandemic. Don't forget that. When you know, two odd years ago, things were pretty grim, uncertain. What on earth was happening in this economy around the world? So we had rates cut to basically zero.
Everywhere, not just us.
Everywhere, correct. And as you said, negative in some countries. So I do subscribe to that, and I'm wondering if in part that's what we're seeing now. If you look at where the money market is pricing, expecting rates to go around the world, most countries have them at 3.5%, something like that percent.
So
is that part of the loading of the cannon that you're talking about, that they do go for the remainder of this year, and they go in 23, even though they might have news on the economy that makes them, in theory, sit tight, they hike them a couple more times than they need to, so that if, as you said, the shit hits the fan at the end of 23 or 24 because of Eastern European problems or something, that they can then go, we can actually start to ease rates again and try to support the economy that way. So in a sense, some tough love from the central banks. Tough love. Sorry, guys, you're not going to like this. Because we're going to over hike interest rates, but it buys us flexibility. That's why they're front loading these rate hikes. Because again, as we said, 50 basis point moves are very unusual.
Well, I don't remember a 50
and in fact, the 75 from the Fed was the first 75 move since 1990 or something. I can't remember. You know,
it was a ridiculous amount of years. 25
many years ago. So they don't happen often. So I'm wondering, that theory that you've just outlined is in fact playing out now.
Maybe not as a conspiracy, but certainly as a management tool.
Yes, so we're going to say we're going to bloody front load these rate hikes. We're going to slam them in there so that by the end of 2022, maybe early 23, we've done more than we need to.
Yeah. Because
then we can give some of the candy back. We're going to take it off you now, and we're all going to have a tantrum. And then, okay, if the economy in the middle of 23, oh gosh, something happens and the Russia-Ukraine war is continuing.
Well, it might spread.
Or heaven forbid, yes. And there's problems of energy, grains, as you said, and all these other things that are coming out of that part of the world, which are really, really important for the food supply and energy supply for the world. Massive issues here, Mark. It's a really big problem. That they then can say, okay, here's some rate cuts. And we all think, thank goodness for that, even though the absolute level of interest rates is probably a little bit higher than we would normally assume.